that control our lives. How many African unicorns have to change their accents, their name, or their data center location just to be taken seriously? The same, ladies and gentlemen, by 2030 or so, AI will write laws, diagnose diseases, and probably pick presidents. The question is no longer, will Africa have AI? It is, whose AI will rule Africa? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today's session is a pointer to a refusal to remain consumers of technology built elsewhere, a commitment to code our own future, secure our own data, and tell our own stories through algorithms that understand our languages and respect our cultures. Louisa Olani is my name, and it's an honor to welcome you to today's session. I'm super glad and excited that a crop of speakers today will do justice to the topic on the review. And if you're excited and equally looking forward to today's session, please can you give yourselves another round of applause. At this point, like I said, we're 2 hours behind schedule. We're going to ensure that we meet up with time, and we're going to go home as at the time allotted for this event. With your cooperation, we'll be doing justice to that. In the next 60 seconds, I like to do this whenever I'm at an event, just for us to understand and know who we're seated close to. So please, if you are not so busy, and of course you like someone close to you, and you want to know the person better, can you just introduce yourself in the next 60 seconds? Hello, good morning. My name is Louisa Olani. I'm a tech enthusiast, I'm a broadcast journalist, and I'm a master of ceremony. So who's seated beside you? Please find out. Be your brother's keeper, be your neighbor's keeper. I was talking to someone, and the person said, my name is Zumon. I'm the director of perimeter affairs. Do you know what that means on LinkedIn? He is the gates man. So you can function your own. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's actually the director of perimeter affairs. True or true? So please ask your neighbor, who are you? You have 10 seconds to do that, and ensure that whenever your neighbor is missing, you just send an SOS. Let's know that whoever you started on the program with is no longer with you. And just ask the organizers, please help us find this person. Thank you very much. Please, if you're just coming in, I want us to move to the front table so that we have a very packed and beautiful pictures as its program continues. We're streamed live on YouTube. Engineer Mohammed Rudman. He's here with Mr. Shil Olorunishola. Thank you very much for coming. Can we give him a round of applause? Seated on that table is the CEO of Valley Digital's principal partner, Emeka Ibe and Co. Mr. Emeka Ibe. Can we give him a round of applause? The NDPC, of course, will be joining us virtually, and to represent Dr. Olatunji is Dr. Tolulope Pius Fadipe, Head Research and Development, NDPC. Can we give him a round of applause? have joining us also virtually Professor Valerie Peter Adewale, Founder, Chief Visionary Officer, Digital Encode Limited. Can we appreciate him with an applause? Our very distinguished keynote speaker was here earlier on. He had to step out to take a breather, promising to back as soon as it's 11. I hope our ushers will be enough to ensure that he's brought back into the room. We appreciate the fact that he was here pretty early. Can we give him a round of applause? We're talking about Mr. George Alu, MDCU, Active Edge Technologies Limited. Thank you very much, sir. We also have Ms. George here seated. We appreciate you for coming. Tokumbo George Taylor, CEO, Scott Corporation. And we appreciate him with an applause. And Techeconomy, CEO, Digital Royalty Nigeria, should be joining us virtually. Let's give him a round of applause. Dr. Mrs. Ebeije Momo, CEO, Africa Financial Services Limited. She's been represented this morning by Nedna Achieve, Head Commercial Business Development at Africa. Please wait to us. Thank you very much, ma'am, for coming. One of our early birds. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Seated on that table is Chukwemeka Enoch Mbabi, Convener, Lagos Blockchain. I give him a round of applause. Thank you for coming. You are blessed among women. We also have John Itodo, AI and Tech Innovator for Emerging Markets. I give him a round of applause. Thank you for coming. All the names, please appreciate if the ushers would bring in the names to recognize accordingly. And last but not least, we have Mr. Chidi, our personal branding coach. Thank you.
This meeting is being recorded.
Like I said, we have virtual also please also give a very happiness over our CEO. Thank you very much. As always, all distinguished men of the press, distinguished persons in the sector, all friends and well-wishers that I have been alliance for final goal. It's not just about having stakeholders in a word for them to make the system. And trust me, without wasting much of our time, at this point I'll be inviting to the program for the address, co-convener of this forum, none other than the Techeconomy himself, Mr. Peter Oduka. We give a round of applause.
Once again, I want to appreciate everyone who's here this morning. To start by apologizing that I was shared. So I want to apologize to you, especially for being the first person who is here around 30. Sorry that you're using your time, so don't just leave me here. Thank you so much. Dr. Emilio, the executive of NCC, in absentia. Vincent Olatunji, the National Executive Commissioner of the National Commissioner of Nigeria Data Protection Commission, Engineer Benga Adebayo, the Chairman of our team. This is Momo, Dr. Momo, the Africo CEO of Africo Financial Services, who is here represented by the head of Commercial Service and Business Development, Africo. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you. Engineer Tony is right with the president of Atcon, Mr. Deshola Isaya, the president of NIRA, and also our distinguished keynote speakers, Professor Adewale Peter Obadero, the founder of CVO of Digital Encode. Also Mr. George Ago, the founder and president of Active Edge Technologies. Distinguished speakers, Mr. Mohammed Woodman, thank you so much for being here, sir. We appreciate you for all the support you give. The CEO of Internet Exchange Point of Nigeria, Engineer Mali, the CEO of Digital Reality Nigeria, to Convergence, Terrell, the CEO of Scott Communications, John Akitodo, AI and Tech Innovator for Emerging Markets, my happiness will be the CEO of Diesel Security, the Governor of Lagos Blockchain. I hope you will see very us here, the partner at Vision Lawyers, Mr. Chidi Opala, a personal friend who has been a great contributor to the economy, writes every Monday, and a personal branding coach. The West African lead at Coinbase, our media partners, distinguished guests, industry stakeholders, sponsors, partners, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to Afritech 5.0 and Afritech Alliance Excellence Awards 2025. Today marks not just another edition of Afritech, but a defining moment in Africa's digital evolution. Our team this year, AI and sovereign tech, building Africa's digital independence, speaks directly to the heartbeat of our continent's technological future. It challenges us to look beyond the Techeconomy Mirror, Digital Times, IT Era, IT Rems, Swift Reporters, Business Remarks, Business Metrics, Tech Trends, and Rise TV. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to all of you. My team, I want to say I appreciate you for your commitment to driving innovation and collaboration towards following this movement. Share and celebrate excellence through the Artex Awards. May today's conversation inspire practical actions that move us closer to self-reliant, innovation-driven digital Africa. Finally, to every participant today and online, thank you for joining us today, and together we are not just observing innovation, we are creating it. Welcome to Afritech 5.0. Thank you.
Deserve another round of applause. Thank you very much, Peter. 5 years down the line, you've been, putting forward very insightful conversations as it affects the tech ecosystem, and you're doing the amazing. So we say congratulations to you and the team. Without wasting much of our time, we're moving straight to the grill is for today. The tech, whoever is supposed to be is ready. But first, here in person, we have our big dad in the industry, the chairman, association of licensed telecom operators, artist, engineer, Vinegar. Thank you very much, sir, for coming.
Good morning, everyone. I need to see this house. I need to commend the organizers of this course for the last 5 years. It's no easy department. One is to share to bring the one today is now social business, washing, pay, everything more.
We have competitors, but any other internet exchange point within Nigeria. Create policies that will incentivize peer-to-peer and interaction for the service providers. Right now, substantial part of all the internet service providers in Nigeria are to us. Almost all the ones you know are interconnected. For all others that are not interconnected, and also content, all content providers are tied to Nigeria's cost and content. And all businesses make sure that one that don't buy .com or .ng, buy a.ng. If you are using .ng, you are using that information, that website, local. Right now there are so many local clouders in. Look for it and why you are so that your information is domesticated, because if you are using the website, mostly are coming from state. And also, if you are choosing an internet service provider, make sure that your internet service provider is also connected to an internet exchange so that the traffic you are browsing is domesticated. So next slide, please. Okay. So that is just it. This is the landing. The local traffic exchange is not just technical, it's a strategic imperative for national security. We must ensure that our traffic is domesticated. It's an economic catalyst, as I mentioned earlier. It attracts data centers, more economic activity taking place in Nigeria, because you don't buy foreign domain, you buy .ng, you don't host on foreign servers, you host on local servers, and all that. And it's safer, it's faster, it's better. So thank you everyone for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we give you a round of applause? You people did not clap when he said, just some able has doubled. So you're hearing it first. It's breaking news. IXPN, what is breaking news? It's now 2 terabits. I wanted to just say, explain to me like a 5-year-old. That's how they say it on Twitter. Explain to the students here, explain to us like a 5-year-old what that in one sentence. Help us understand so that they will clap.
It's equivalent to 200. As I said, bits per second is speed, right? It moves bits per second, 2 terabits. So it's equivalent to 250 gigabytes of data per second. It's equivalent, if your average phone is equivalent, you can back up 50 phones in a second. 200,000 people can download concurrent video from Netflix, 2,000 concurrently at 200,000 browsing. So it's a huge capacity. It's not an easy feat. We have been doing this for the last 50 years this year. And we're able to do within the same year. So it's significant. Substantial part of that is actually people browsing on. We did an analysis. Most of our peak traffic before is during the day. The highest amount of exchange of traffic is during the day. is at night. What is happening is that there is fixed wireless to home, able to browse Netflix and the rest at night. And when the volume of traffic is at night, around 11 p.m., we see the big traffic. So I hope it's clear.
You're trying to do what is no longer. And just like he was saying something about the peak of the traffic. Don't give you bonus to use in the midnight as a draft. Maybe that's not how to first talk about it. If you buy that you buy data, I will tell you 20 or 5. The technical guys is to let us know she's ready. She is the wife of Dr. Vincent Olatunji, the National Commissioner, Nigerian Data Protection Commission, NDPC. They represented this morning head and NDPC. Can we give her a round of applause? Is muted, Doctor. Doctor, your mic. Hello. In the next while we're trying to that it's a seamless connection between us and Tulu. Our next will be from Africa. This is all extensive experience in the industry to our people as NDCO for speaking tonight. This actually was in the morning, right?
This meeting is being recorded.
Yes, thank you. This is not only this is a PJ CEO of Afritech, represented Ajive, Head Commercial Business Development at Afritech. Can we very round of applause as she comes. Technical guys, make sure that Dr. will be after now. She will be bringing her home, but she needs to be somewhere else. But we just need to move as quick as possible. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you all so much for this opportunity. I'm happy to see some very familiar faces and people that I have a lot of respect for. Very good to see you, sir. Just put up my slides. Dr. Mr. Rudman, I just called you. What you presented today really resonates with me a lot, and you see a lot of commonalities with what I'm going to say about Africa, national domestic car scheme. So thank you very much. Very encouraging presentation. I really enjoyed it. So okay, I'm waiting for my slides to come up and just say that I'm speaking on building indigenous fintech infrastructure, the Africa vision. So I will segue into the Africa discussion while I'm talking about building indigenous infrastructure. So thank you. Once again, my name is Nena Ajife. I'm delighted to be here, and our executive Mr. Ugo Basi will be joining us shortly as well. So for those who may not know us well, Africa is Nigeria's national domestic car scheme. We handle payments. It's a homegrown payment that contributes to financial inclusion, local stand on its feet, confidently, and proud of Nigeria. What action is about today, building indigenous fintech infrastructure and shaping the future of Africa's digital independence. So it brings me to my next slide, which is a quote by the famous Albert Einstein. So it's a reminder that progress doesn't happen by doing the same things and expecting different results. Really. I mean, it's been used many times, right? So if Africa wants to change her story, especially in the digital space, we have to think differently, act differently, and most importantly, build differently. So I wanted to begin with this quote, really, because it's the essence of what today's conversation is about for me. Change, courage, and creation. So Africa has done remarkable things in terms of technology, but we cannot contribute to building our future on borrowed systems and expectations, right? So must be locally designed, locally governed, and locally sustained. We must keep it in Nigeria and Africa. Moving on to the next slide. So this is really about, in the last decade, Africa has been one of the fastest growing digital payments markets, and I'm going to be speaking more around payments than otherwise. So we've seen mobile money, we've seen e-payments, we've seen fintechs, agency banking, digital wallets, etc. But behind these numbers lies an important question. Who really owns the infrastructure powering all of this? Who is powering these innovations, right? Whose innovations are driving most of these things that we're doing? Is it ours? Because financial inclusion is not just about access. Yes, we can give access, include the underserved, but it's also about ownership, data control, and sovereignty when we're speaking about financial inclusion. So can we move to the next slide, please? So just to share a little note, true digital independence is equal to indigenous fintech infrastructure. That's really what it is. So the truth is, much of Africa's fintech success today still runs global infrastructure owned by others. Dr. Rudman has made some allusions to the fact that our data is going out there before it comes back here and all of that. So there's nothing wrong with partnerships, really, but at what point do we start asking ourselves how much of this innovation is really ours, right? That question is what has led what we're doing at Afrigo. So true digital independence starts with building our own foundation. We are not being anti-globalization, no. It's pro-Nigeria, pro-Africa. We have to build our own solution and infrastructure that understands market dynamics designed for Africa's context. So that's how we achieve real digital independence, by owning the rails that move our money, move our data, and move our ideas. So, okay, moving on. So, just going to speak on risk of reliance on foreign infrastructure. So the risk is very simple. When someone owns your foundation, they own your future. A single policy shift abroad can disrupt millions of users here. The same way that internet connectivity can be disrupted by somebody that stops something out there, same way your payment rails can also be truncated. Exchange rates will fluctuate, costs will rise, and suddenly the access becomes uncertain, right? So we cannot keep building Africa's future on someone else's rails, and that's the truth. If we want resilience, we have to own our tracks ourselves, right? So over independence, I mean, no need to overflow it. So we must reduce over dependence, not by closing our doors, not at all, but by strengthening our own foundations, have our own. Right? So just to show an example of some of the payment indigenous solutions here, and even looking at all of these, looking at Active Edge and Road, you can see that Africa is building, right? So our local innovation should not be a fallback plan, right? It's the key to long-term digital sovereignty. We keep talking about sovereignty. What is sovereignty? It's ownership, owning your own, being independent, being able to innovate at your own pace, being able to drive content on your own space when you want and how you want without having to refer to anyone else in another environment. We can be reckless about it, and we can also be very, very professional and very clear about how we want to go about driving our own sovereignty. Some clients have been very reckless about it and ruthless and kicked everybody out, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that we build our own. So going back to my slides, we cannot talk about payments and the growth of indigenous payments without talking about needs. We cannot. We cannot talk about payments and indigenous business without talking about instant payments and rail. The instant payments rails are revolutionized transfers and inspired faster payments, more secure payments, more locally owned payments. We cannot. So our needs has even gone beyond that and continue to innovate with intent for our environment by building the national payment stack, which is like going further than the national instant transfer that we already have and successful transactions have already happened if you're following the news in Webbank and the like, and so we are seeing progress there. That's local innovation. That is us owning our own infrastructure and our speech, and then of course we can speak to all other institutions that are doing that. Do we own these things? So moving this to the card scheme, you have other African countries have their own national domestic card schemes for different reasons. If I can refer to the case of Russia, they also built their own independent national domestic card scheme, and based on that, we're able to, when they had issues with other clients, we're able to, they did not truncate their own payments. They're able to, at that point, say, okay, global schemes move, we use only our own. They wanted to keep their own data in their own space. So we are not trying to say, oh, we're going to recklessly do that, but we have to have our own. So, and that's where Afrigo comes in. Afrigo is not just a card scheme, it's a statement of intent. It says that Nigeria can build and power its own card ecosystem. Nigeria can reduce costs for our institutions, our financial institutions. Nigeria can equip our financial institutions like microfinance banks to be able to do what other institutions are doing within regulatory standards and keep more value within our economy. Like Dr. Rudman said, it's a collaborative effort. Local innovation, solving local challenges while strengthening national capabilities. So it takes me straight to the Afrigo vision. Next slide. So, our vision is simple. Every transaction should strengthen our ecosystem. So Afrigo was built to complement global systems, not compete recklessly, like I said earlier, but to ensure balance and choice. Balance and choice. So we are creating a payment scheme that supports inclusion, drives innovation, not just for the sake of innovation, but innovation to serve and add value. And it reflects our local identity. Because real growth happens when what we build serves our people first. So moving on to and continue with our Afrigo discussion. So we are already seeing the impact of Afrigo. You can get the card at any of the banks and also some of the microfinance banks that have the license to do that. So right now, Afrigo, financial institutions are issuing, transactions are growing, costs are being saved for some of these financial institutions. Because, I mean, one of our value propositions is to ensure that all elements of transactions are in Naira. There's no foreign currency, fees or transaction settlement of the like. Everything is in Naira. So we keep that aside, and that's just one of them. So, but beyond the numbers, Afrigo is proving that local can work and work well. You can see the numbers, cards ordered and all that. We just went fully live, issuing in October 2024. So you can imagine what will happen if we have more collaboration and interoperability with all the necessary stakeholders, right? So we are keeping value within our ecosystem. We are keeping our data within our ecosystem, right? We are strengthening data sovereignty and showing that homegrown innovation can scale. We can. So that's something we should all be proud of. This is for Nigeria, by Nigerians, and after effect, Africa. So other countries are already coming to study what we're doing, to understand how we're doing it and how we're making progress. And I believe that is something that we can even take out there of what we are doing in Nigeria to grow our national sovereignty. So real quick, I'm trying to be very quick here. Just an addition, Afrigo thriving by innovation. Excellent. So I'm just letting you look at some of the things that we're doing and some of the partnerships. Now we have cards that are contactless that you can use to handle your rail transportation, for instance. And it's not just that it's for transportation, you can use that same card for payments as well. So payment is layered on your transportation cards, sort of like what we have the Oyster cards and some of the other clients, but we're doing that here for our own people. So with time, we'll start seeing some of that. So we keep evolving from how we enable tokenization to security of the system. So we're not innovating, we're innovating with security in mind as well, right? So to how we support acceptance and integration. So we're learning, we're improving, and innovating based on the feedback from our partners. Because that's the beauty of being local, really. You can adapt fast, you can understand the market, and you can innovate with purpose. So just to share some of the innovations that we're doing right now to drive cashless, and I'd like to mention the instant merchant credit, which is something, Africa is the first card scheme to do that in the world. And this is based on the card scheme. And this is in Nigeria, innovating with purpose. So when a merchant uses, or someone uses an Afrigo card on the merchant's terminal, the merchant gets instant settlement and is able to use their funds again and to grow their business. And we also innovate to suit purpose for every stakeholder in that sense. So next slide. So call to action, right? So here's the truth, we cannot do it alone. Again, Mr. Rudman has mentioned collaboration. We must collaborate, right? Collaborate to expand acceptance and access. So we need regulators, we need the banks, we need the fintechs, innovators to come together and build strategically. So it's not about acceleration, it's about collaboration and building its own digital destiny. Every decision to support a local solution strengthens our collective capacity. So we need to stop looking at our own local solutions as something that's inferior. It shouldn't be that way. Because if we all have a change of opinion, and I'm so happy to see a lot of young faces here because this is our future. And when I'm talking about government intervention and the like, it is not just about setting aside a budget for innovation. It's also harnessing the knowledge that these young people have and using it to grow our own local infrastructure and using it to build this country. My 8-year-old, the things she can do with her tab and her laptop, I have no idea. And I can just imagine if that child has a path that directs her to somewhere where she can innovate freely and build and think what she can do. Instead of taking it out there, she do it here in our country. And that's why we need to support local businesses like Afrigo and support our own. We can see even in the fashion industry, people are now wearing more of rare and all those Nigerian things, owning Nigerian, using Nigerian brands. We don't look at my suit funny. It's also Nigerian made, local made by a Nigerian entrepreneur. So I'm also representing Nigeria in my outfit, even though it looks external, it's made in Nigeria. So like I said before, every decision to support a local solution strengthens our collective capacity. So you can go into any institution and pick up your African card and use it and support your country. So I talked about innovation, partnerships, investing, education. Really and truly, that's what the call to action is. We must build our own. So on the my final slide. So, okay. Africa's digital independence will not be given, it will be built. Transaction by transaction, partnership by partnership, innovation by innovation. So we have to build it. And when we do, we won't just be participating in the global digital economy, we will be shaping it. Already, like I said before, people are coming in, they are trying trying to understand how we're doing things, instant transfer, instant credit, and all of that. It is happening. So we'll be shaping it. So that's the future Afrigo represents, and that's the future we all should be building towards. Thank you all so much.
I think we should leave she is back to us. Thank you very much. Truly, each time African comes to talk to us, there's always something new and interesting. Just through digital independence starts building our own structure and then our own. Thank you very much. Tell us one word that we started. We have to go home with something today. What have heard of how many show of hand? So, at the time, while she was giving that very brilliant presentation, can we give it up for Mr. Lo? Yes, that's and so amazing things you're doing there. And, we're moving very quickly. Yes, Dr. Tolu, is she ready now? And we introduce the representative. It's by Dr. Tolu Pius Pipe, the head research and development
system points, whereby you have to rely on foreign organizations. I tell you, across the business environment, especially here in Nigeria or within the Africa, we rely so much on solutions. Whether by data loss prevention, for instance, where we have the NDPR or GDPR, or by web application firewall, and so we have to rely on foreign organizations in order to protect our environment. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a really call for action. And outside from this space, we have started a mission back from 2024, our core solution, ensuring that yes, this is a journey that the right things around collaboration and of course looking also the government support, building cyber resilience, infrastructure in order to support the local business, and of course having the SMEs to ride on, to scale up in terms of delivering value.
So all right. I'm sorry, ma'am, to just cut you there. We're trying and really badly to bring up the slide, and of course, maybe while they're trying to do that, we just again just do this. When you talk about cybersecurity, most people see it as something off the hook. Maybe layman's terms, like I asked Mr. Ruben the other time, what should they be looking at when you say cybersecurity? What should they?
This meeting is being recorded.
Yes, we know. Thank you for reminding us. Thank you. Just talk to the students here waiting, and what things they should know when it comes to cybersecurity issues in Nigeria, and where it is going, and how they must equip themselves.
Yes, okay. From that point, I would say we've had several issues private or maybe your personal information. It is part of it. And then, of course, receiving a phishing email and telling you to, to download a particular attachment. And this is where, from the data loss prevention point or even the email security, it's very important because it could be your private email, be your official email. Hackers nowadays, they take advantage, because they know that these are really the weak links, people can easily. Most times we've seen issues where you can receive an email, with even a note that you're welcome, maybe possibly you have also received the same email from that source, but then there's also a slight difference. I've had an issue where this company, they always send out instruction to the bank, for for transactions, and this beautiful behavior, because I have to put it, they receive same email, the bank receives same email with the account officer, but meanwhile, somebody kind of be monitoring the activity of the secretary, including the MD, how they rate, instructions, everything. Of course, they clone the mail, they clone the email address, and of course, rate the instruction data and send it to the bank. And before you know it, though there are two instances. This first one, the account officer was a bit twice. It's okay, let me just put a call across to confirm whether this is, from the actual source. And behold, yes, the ND confirmed, no, this is not from my company. So we're seeing instances like this. It also could be your mobile phone. So we've seen where somebody could send even via WhatsApp. So there's a lot of hacking activity happening, even especially using the AI, to carry out most of this activity. So this is a call for us to really watch out, especially the young ones. People, you guys, you know about games, downloading games, and most of those games already have embedded malware into it. To be there to monitor your phone, monitor your behavior, or monitor your system. So we need to really keep watch at all times. Okay, so moving to the call for homegrown solution. Like earlier said, solutions we have today, they are not really typically built for our own environment. Look at it, most of them, just about 20 or 30%, to say yes, it kind of speaks to our environment. And that's why most time from us, from the system integrator, we try to fine-tune, do a lot of integration, do a lot of hand-holding process from the OEM, from the customer end, because it's really a pain that, yeah, you pitch a solution and you went through the sales cycle, and at the end of the day, the solution closed. And because of some past experience, we make sure that from our own example, for the same solution we are deploying, we make sure that there is always a proof of concept, because this will help you to know, okay, if this really worth it, or giving you the right requirements, before any investment. So these are some of the things, we do. So to the next slide. So these are some of the things we do to ensure that, yes, value delivered. But then, for the sake of today's event, and of course, looking at the homegrown, solution. So we are looking at building our own solution. Of course, it's going to be a kind of journey, but I'll tell you that from Caesar Point, we've already started that journey, and of course, we're also looking at collaborating with different organizations in order to drive this digital value. Firstly, we have done a lot of, we have supported a lot of customers, in terms of whether from the telco points, in terms of the billing, operation-wise, HR, operation, finance, from income assurance points. These are some of the solutions we've also put in place. And the new project ongoing right now, we are collaborating with Unify, that is Africa Data Center, building security on top of their current infrastructure in order to make sure our own businesses are well protected from the data loss prevention, from the web security, from the database activity monitoring, because these are the things very important. And Why we also collaborate with them, because those data are where they are resides locally. We are not like relying on innovators, because I know it's going and then the overall, which really call for us, everyone to be government, for us to really, to make sure we grow the business from the cybersecurity point, not really business, but of course, protecting our own critical environment from the cybersecurity point. A lot is really happening as the digital space is growing, so as well is really attracting a lot of cybersecurity. And of course, we are also urging the government today, looking at within a sectorial side, coming up with real programs, especially for the young ones, around cybersecurity hands-on simulation center, deep dive vulnerability management trainings, that could really help to support digital infrastructure and also protect us moving forward. So for me, I think because of the time, and also because we really wasted some time in terms of the slide. So what I have to say today, like I said, from teaser points, we are really putting up a lot, and of course someday we're also going to invite, maybe sometime in the few months to come, we'll be having a major launch from our ERP solution and also about 2 cybersecurity solutions that will be launching to their people. And please, we also seek for your support on this, and of course, yes, it is ours, and what we have also done is to ensure there is a global standard in terms of our deliverables. And of course, integrity is very important, and of course, the data is also well secured. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity, and I wish you.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate her one more time. As we're moving, the black guys are moving. Intimate us with how we also be a step ahead of them when it comes to securing all our digital data, so to say. Moving, the moderator of the panel to be getting set after the keynote speaker's presentation. Unfortunately, we're still trying to Dr. and it are not connected. We're going to quickly this point to our keynote speaker's address. Group President, Active Edge Technology, is an accomplished IT professional and entrepreneur with over 2 decades of experience leading the IT industry across 5 countries, including professional service manager, sales director, MD, and CEO before founding Active Edge Technologies in 2010. A proud alumnus of the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, where he studied computer science and statistics. George has activities world-class programs and certifications, notably the Entrepreneurship Acceleration Program, Revolution, and Management Development Program at Wharton School, United States of America. Prior to founding Active Edge Technologies in 2010, George was the managing director and CEO of Neptune Software of West Africa, where he achieved a remarkable feat by spearheading the sales and implementation of core banking system at several banks in Eastern and Southern African countries. Beyond his corporate achievements, George holds other influential roles, including the 2-term chairman of Business Roundtable at the African Bar Association, deputy president of the Southeast South Professionals of Nigeria, and a member of the Abia State Global Economic Advisory Council. Is also a sought-after speaker and a resourceful fundraiser. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not so busy, please join me to welcome to the podium Mr. George Agnew, President, Active Edge Technologies Limited, as he gives his keynote presentation on AI and sovereign tech. building Africa's digital independence. Can we please appreciate him as he comes? We can do better with the applause. Thank you. It was one of the things that came in pretty early. Thank you, sir, for your time and patience. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. And most importantly, what makes me very excited about this event is the sheer number of young people that have on the floor. So to start, I would like to tell a story. Many years ago, I watched a movie. I can't remember the name, but it just occurred to me this morning. And this movie was talking about a certain lady who had an illness. But apparently, there was a swap of the diagnosis where someone was diagnosed, imagine, with malaria, and she was diagnosed with cancer. Apparently, she was one that had malaria, and she was being treated for cancer. And her situation was getting worse by the day, and no one could tell exactly what was going on. Until eventually it was found that there was a swap in the diagnosis and the result. So today we're going to talk about AI and tech sovereignty. And the story I'm going to tell you is very closely related to the analogy that I've just created. Why? Because what is sovereignty? Majority is sovereignty, you know that. But it doesn't just end there. I think I have to find a way to turn on this by. So Nigeria is sovereignty, but that's not just all. The thing is that the whole idea we're trying to paint today is how to determine how we play and how to define what AI means to all of us, starting from those in this room. So I am going to look at several areas of this presentation. Unfortunately, I'm not able to, if you prepare a presentation, I'm not able to see it. What do you do? Gentlemen, how can I have access to what I prepared? Anyway, I'm going to look at it from three areas. One being I look at the executive summary, artificial intelligence, highlight of the context. I'll look at the main content, which is the sovereignty frontier, and I'll look at some other points. Right, so looking at the historical context, Africa has indeed been part of a lot of things that are good that has happened. I'm sure you know that one of the fundamental problems we have in Africa is the fact that we don't keep records. So there have been ways that our forefathers related. We knew that they had issues, but if you read the Old Testament of the Bible, we also see that there have been a lot of fight and all that. But they documented the good and they documented the bad. But we don't have any documentation. When you don't keep your story, what happens is that you live with what you are told. I'm hoping that that is not going to happen. So artificial intelligence, you know what it is. Sovereignty, you know what it is. Technology, you know what it is. And when we talk about AI and technology sovereignty, essentially we're looking at how Africa can build, train, push, and win in the area of AI. We're not looking at how not to shut the door, but how to open it and define the terms of engagement. And I think it's important, and I want you guys to pay attention to this. What is it that determines what a company does? What is it that determines what a family does? What is it that determines what a government does? Do you know, can somebody tell me what it is? Just an idea? So I don't take your time. What determines what they do is the conversations that they have. Tony Manning, in a book called Making Sense of Strategy, says that businesses are managed conversation because it is ultimately what you discuss all the time that determines what you do. So whenever you hear National Assembly having some discussion, I can tell you that in no time you can see the direction that the country is headed. Are they discussing technology? Are they discussing innovation? Are they discussing cybersecurity? Are they discussing transformation? Are they discussing how Nigeria can play favorably in the Community of Nations? You know, from one transition to another, you can actually tell what they're discussing. And because I do business in many countries, what you find if you go to Kenya, as backward as you may think that Uganda is, you can see that they are having proper conversations. I'm not seeing a lot of these conversations going on, and I think it should be a cause for concern. So Africa stands at a unique inflection point with young population, mobile first economies, under digitized sectors, and AI is becoming a horizontal capability, as you will find in electricity, fundamental economic activities. I can tell you also that one of the things that you find is that the process of making application is going to be a lot easier, a lot faster, and cheaper than what we find in the future. I find a lot of developers that are not paying attention to the development trend of AI. If you are very good in Python, if you're very good in Java, etc., you're not learning agentic AI, for example. I can tell you that people who haven't been in systems, they just come and zoom. If you hear a car overtake you and you're looking at a very high speed, chances are that if you don't look up early, what's going to happen? You're not going to see the car. It will just overtake you. So Nigeria can also lead the continent by aligning policy capital capability around local needs. Sovereign tech simply means how we build, how we power, how we govern, and how we monetize AI in the continent. And our goal here should be very simple: AI solutions that are reliable for us, run for us, and reward us. So I will just talk a little bit about some of the various components that are necessary for the sovereign conversation. Can I ask, sorry, who is controlling this, because I might be saying something different from what you're saying. Otherwise, we can shut it down and then you can just listen to me. So there's some fundamental points here. There are 4 of them. One being the sovereign data, the other one being the sovereign compute, the other one being the sovereign algorithm, the other one being the sovereign value. If you are a developer, the most important point here, if you're a developer, you will know that the power of your code is a function of this algorithm. Is there a developer here? The power of your software is a function of this algorithm, because it is in the algorithm that you define the context. So I don't want to bother you with the sovereign data, which is really about how data is stored, processed, and governed under the jurisdiction that you define, or talk about the compute, which is so much about the compute and connectivity, leveraging open chips, design, etc., or this value, which is developing local talent, IP and companies capturing economic value. The most important thing here is the algorithm. Businesses are built on models. So what determines whether your business is founded on a partnership ecosystem or open innovation is a function of the business model that you define. And the point I'm trying to make here is that of all the things that are important for us, the most important thing is for us to pay attention on the algorithms, the context that we create. And of course, there are so many sectors where AI can be applied. The truth is that if we are getting to where we want to be, the cognifying context of AI, I'm sure you know what cognify means, to be aware, is such that someone who is interested in this program can actually tell where to start coming if he wants to come at the niche of time. For example, I've just been speaking at an event before I was told that I need to be here, but a proper AI system should be intelligent to the extent where I can even find a way to know how the traffic has flowed into this hotel, what has changed over time, and that's how decisions are made. So in agriculture, you can apply it. In health, you can apply it. In education, you can apply it. In MSMEs, energy, grid optimization, and etc. Public services, citizen service co-pilots, and etc. You can apply AI. It really depends on how committed you are. Intent is important in everything that we do. Intent. I'm just coming from an event where we're talking about family business, and it's so much about intent. No matter how strong your business plans or your mission and vision statement is, you can really tell how effective an organization is by just looking at alignment of resources, alignment of this, alignment of that, and etc. So now let me talk about a quote from Elon Musk, who said that AI is a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization. Why is that very important? Because all the inventions, you influence his future by yourself. AI is one model, one invention that is defining his future. In a book written by Kevin Kelly, The 12 Forces of Disruption, one of which is codifying, and it's talking about the alien, artificial alien, AI being man's neighbor. So I think the benefit of having young people listen to this conversation is that they can begin to think differently as to what AI is. And I was expecting to see policymakers here, because they have a lot of contribution to make in terms of how we prioritize what is important to us, what we are discussing. The earlier we discuss less of politics during governance time, the earlier we can begin to make meaningful impact in the society. You see what happened over the last 2 weeks? Donald Trump just says, oh, we're going to go to Nigeria to do this, and government is putting things in place. The thing is, why would government not put things in place the way they ought to put it in place? There's a time for election and there's a time for governance. And during governance, we begin to affect. You become an optimization agent. How can I optimize the economic value that you are creating? How can I optimize security, education, and etc.? Why would it happen only when this thing happens? What I make is that the people in strategic positions, especially government, should prioritize important conversations, because those conversations affect your future, whether you like it or not. People are graduating from the university, and people are going to the university, people are retiring, people are going to search for jobs. The decisions that are made in these places are very important, and I'm saying here that they have to prioritize AI.
Also talks about this week. The slides will be made available to us. It's both tech. To us, of course, it's simply solution to us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for the Only go say hi.
Afritech Technology Personality of the Year Award. Thank you very much. So that's
This is actually the Afritech Award presented to Mr. George Agbo, President, Founder,
Thank you very much. Congratulations on presenting this. Engineer Rickman, please, do us the honors.
This is a special award for Mr. Mahmoud Rodman, the CEO of Internet Exchange Portal of Nigeria. Because what we all know is the value of the work that I discuss for again on the work that you do. The early days we have many issues. A lot of seniors in the house will have interconnectivity, connectivity. What they have done in the Internet Exchange is I think they are the best massively that we are fighting for the land provider. So they take the award, they use the international Internet of the
Thank you. On to engineer. Comes representative can say on behalf. Of the today, I will not the space and we will looking for more cases. Congratulations. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you very much. All right, we know. Okay. All right. Can we have all of the recipients now? To see the first one, take the picture, please. If you just see the number, can come with your back, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Angela, yes, you have to. Please come up with the back. Please let's have the plaque. All of them the first set. I will still have more to do this. So that we'll move to straight to our panel session. Like I said, we are saying it and thanks to your cooperation. For doing this with us and cooperating with us far. All right, so just hold on to the yes, one person, yes, please. Just one is okay. Hold on to the other for him, yes. You know when you have plenty. No, let's have yes. Yes, sir, please come. Yes. Please come. Yes. Smile. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Congratulations again. Congratulations. We're moving quickly to our very first panel session. We have just one panel. Interesting time, the 5.0 session of Afritech Alliance session, who will in turn invite the panel. I hope Dr. Tolu will be joining us. It's cool that you can hear us. And then we have three more in person. Please join me to welcome the brand manager at Techeconomy. Technological sovereignty. Can we give her a round of applause as she comes to the panel and also do them in the next 20 minutes. I don't, the work we are going to do will not be long. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start the call. Before we move on to the start session, I would like to invite the panelists. Firstly, we have Dr. Vincent Bataji, the National Data Protection Commission, NPC, ably represented online by Dr. Tolu. I don't know if Dr. Tolu is able to join us now. On the panel, please, with a round of applause, let us invite one group internet exchange. Next on the panel, we have Chizuzi, the group CEO of WTE Limited. With a round of applause, let's welcome him upstage. Next on the panel, we also have Afritech, the CEO of Citadel Cyber Security. Let's welcome as well. So I have here joining the industry experts who will be talking about the our own values that reflect how we are going to protect our data and also as a nation, Nigeria. So my first question, Dr. Tolu online. So quickly, I'll just move on to ask my first question. We go to Ahmed. True digital sovereignty requires
What we're trying to do is to ensure we domesticate set of traffic domesticated. But you see, when we say 70%, it means it's the volume of the traffic. And we know that videos are usually the ones that
the heavy traffic on the internet. And these videos are mostly TikTok, YouTube, and all the rest that are interconnected to us. Analysis of websites that people. So what a lot of our own substantial number of the are not hosted in Nigeria, they are hosted internationally. So what I'm trying to do is to advocate in that by sensitizing, talking to government to see how we can move our data locally. And as possible. That's why, for example, our experience in Lagos, there are 8 different locations. Victoria Island, we are on all the major data centers that are in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in Enugu. To be the data centers, all the businesses that are operating within those locations are to do towards data sovereignty. Marathon where it will take time to convince people domesticate their information.
Thank you very much for that. And I hope with what IXPN is doing, we are able to spread across Nigeria as fast as possible, because the rate of development is growing very fast as to speed as well. My second question for you is, what policy and investment priorities are critical to ensure that the data generated in Africa stays within Africa?
Okay, one is, in terms of policy, is to ensure that the licensing regime for smaller service providers is there and it's easy to access those licenses. For example, if you look at Nigeria, there are states in Nigeria that do not single internet service provider. For example, we are in Gombe. About 3 million people, Gombe State. Data people are sharing from their phone to grasp how they can reach the underserved and unserved areas. Minister of Communication was speaking recently to come up with the policies in terms of investment. Really expensive. If you want to buy a link between Kano and Lagos of 1 gigabit per second, it's more expensive than the link to London. So of course, from Kano to Lagos, that's basically you want to do 9,000 kilometers of fiber. So these are the investments that we need to ensure that we do that. But critical holds everything together. is the human resource. We need to really no matter how good they fund it properly, and that's where all the technology guys that you see in America, the top CEOs of all these big telecommunication companies are right now Indians. You know of Google, of course. So we really need to, as we speak now, there is no major institution where you can go and get trained as a government company. So it's just part of the curricula you do just for computer science. So I think we need to be really deliberate about it. Because that's the glue that ties everything together.
So we can say that the role of government is public-private partnership to enhance the digital and also to empower communities who lack. So that my next question goes to happiness, because cybersecurity is foundational to digital sovereignty. What are the emerging vulnerabilities in AI adoption?
Okay, thank you. So today we have lots happening. Deepfake is one of them, and of course, most time you see videos, you see voices, playing out, and you think, oh, this is so or well originated, but then at the back end. So this is one of them, and then of course we also see from the fourth aspect. We see a lot of from that. And this is why education is also very important. Educating users. We see around the kind of system information. It could be then when you have a ESPN, which actually help you to analyze your data. When you correlate to look at, okay, which system is not risk, or where is the data hiding, or which system, where is roaming or residential. It could be from the forensic aspect, it could be from the response, it could be from what aspect. So we see some activities that are being generated by AI in as much as there is positive aspects and there's also negative aspects. But overall today the hackers are retraining this AI ransomware into different systems.
Thank you very much for that. That takes me
organization. Critical to them is the human aspect and the you can never take that out. So in order to reduce this and cost effectively, there are little things we can start up. Some of them are like tabletop exercise. Aside the tabletop exercise, regular patches, which will not really cost too much. And then of course or to know if the organization is corrupt, whether from the network parts or from, let's say, from across your channels, it could be from your firewall, it could be from your web, from the servers, we do all this because with all these little things, it makes you to keep, because you're on top of your game. And then other things important is data protection aspects. There are some solutions today. I know solutions which is also not too expensive, but then of course we capability in terms of the analysis. Yes, there's some that you can still offer some kind of value, but of course, but then the key thing is about it's always good for the executive or management, to analyze, to look at the journey, depending on the business landscape or the kind of business they're driving. That prioritize what kind of solution you need at that point in time, and then gradually, because most times it could be very it can be very expensive. But overall,
I would like to take one last word from the
All right. Any? Okay, one there. Let me have one. Just either question or contribution, name and quickly go straight to it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lina. So, someone like maybe somebody is trying to job security, what's the best way to start? Which one would you propose? The best way to start?
Anyone, cybersecurity.
Yes, I really encourage the cybersecurity. I know there are the aspects which has to do with not being core technical, and of course the aspects of really hands-on. We'll look at security operations center, really good about incident response, But then I say there are some free training you can start with online. There are some free training. Start with that, and of course there's also some YouTube. And then for scissor space, first quarter next year we'll also be recruiting some free training for some young graduates. Maybe just keep in touch as part of that. But at the start point, there's free training you will start with online. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to talk on how Africa can embrace
things. So what I would suggest is that we need to identify the gaps. Each one of us is looking for a solution to a particular problem, right? If you are an accountant, AI can be used as a solution in there is AI where whatever issue you have, if you go and test it there, you will see the AI product that is the solution to that your problem. So to adopt is follow the herd, because everybody is using ChatGPT. That's everybody join into the panel. AI will be based on your need that we opportunity to solve problems, because the whole objective of setting up AI is to solve our problems. That's where the robotics is going, so that you can have robots and how to do your chores and all that. So my pick up and see the need that we can really apply it.
Thank you very much. Just last word. Yes, last word. Your last word.
Okay, my last word, I'll say please,
It's already evident that our digital independence will be built, not borrowed, and we have a future of having our own
something. I like the fact that the young lady spoke about how she wants to be a cybersecurity person, whatever studying university. To your dream of becoming that sort of after presentation on personal branding masterclass. Everyone, personal branding masterclass. But before we can we please rise on our feet? Let's stretch our legs a bit. Please rise up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Let's do something quickly. Just stretch your legs now. If you're sitting on the it's not so close. Stretch, stretch. Stretch your legs, stretch. Stretch. Don't take it. Something, say hi. Tell the person what you learned so far. One or two things. How are you? For those that didn't come on time, just stretch a bit so that we don't feel boring. The cold is entering into our legs. You know, just say hi. Say hi, say hi. Take up somebody, take something from your neighbor. If you can, the glasses, the ATM, the wallet, and return it back afterwards. Alright. Thank you very much for stretching. Can we please have our seats, as in the next 10 minutes or so, we're having a free personal branding coach to talk to us about personal branding. He's not other than a distinguished leader in the Asian technology space with nearly 2 decades of experience in corporate and communication. Mr. Chidi is not just passionate about building corporate brands, but is now dedicated to transforming personal brands for leaders and aspiring leaders. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Mr. Chidi, our personal branding coach, as he takes us through the human evolving, thriving in an uncertain world. Personal branding becomes your greatest edge in the digital world. Can we give him another round?
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me today and giving me the opportunity to share some insights with you this afternoon. I know that in the last couple of meetings, as we've shared a lot of things around technology, artificial intelligence, building data centers, fiber optic cables, and these things are very interesting. And I can tell you that it's so interesting because I've been in this industry for a long time, and I've communicated technology, I've talked about technology, and it's something I'm also very passionate about. But just very brief for the next 10-15 minutes so that I can just take your mind of the roads, the infrastructure that we build, that we know about in the tech space. And let me bring something that I feel is also very, very important for all of us in this room. Today, I'm sharing something around the human algorithm, thriving in an uncertain world. I'm very passionate about human needs. I'm very passionate about people, and I have moved from driving corporate brands to see how we can help people build amazing, impactful brands, not just for themselves, but also for their organizations. And I'll tell you why this is very, very, very important. We've had, I think it was Dr. Engineer that said something about Africa, and talking about Africa's sovereignty. There's a lot of conversations today around that. And I'll like to share a story. A few years ago, I think in 2008, 2009, I was doing my master's in England, and the professor came into the room and he put up the world map. And that world map, there was light everywhere. Right? There was light everywhere, apart from in Africa. And you can trust us as Africans. What did we do? We started complaining. We said, this is how they always do us. This is how they always like to bring us down. And the gentleman allowed us to continue with what we know how to do in this room. All of you know very well, right? He allowed us to be able to create that level of intelligence that will help us really succeed and strive in this uncertain world that we live in. So I'll leave you with three things that I feel will be very, very important for us as we go on. Most especially going into a new year. As we go into 2026, a lot of people are very afraid that they're saying it's an election year. There's the way of uncertainty. There's the way of things. But uncertainty today has become the new normal. So if you ask me, what I think we should be really thinking about is not really getting afraid about the uncertainties around, but asking ourselves as leaders, as people, as professionals, how can we respond to the uncertainties and own it? I love this hashtag, own your story. And I use it a lot. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you say, I use it a lot because it's very, very, very important. And the digital world today, it's important you own your story. Because if you do not own your story, I bet you the person who is going to own that story, you won't be happy about how it's going to come. So it's important you own that story. If we are able to own our story and own it well, it gives us that credibility, it gives us that strength to really go through in terms of the things that we want to do. So I talked about three. So it's important to do a reset. We do like a 360 audit of who we are. Understand what your values are, what you stand for. And then people too as well. If you see you're conducting a 360 audit for your life, for your career, for the things that you're doing, that don't just give you an opportunity to understand yourself, it gives you an opportunity to understand what people think about you, about the venture that you're getting into, about the technology that you're innovating through. What does it really need? Then you should also think of how you can also reinvent yourself and also rebrand yourself. So it's these things that are very, 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 very important. Once we are able to understand these things, our stories, once we are able to understand what our personal story really means for us, when we learn with technology, then Africa can begin to see itself thrive and thrive in the way it should be thrive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kami. Your story reminded me of an essay I wrote in primary school about my grandfather. It you know my dog better than my dog? You know, I mean, that's, we do all of that, especially for you people. Whatever we're putting on social media today, they make all marks. So, I think those people that said the greatest food for AI is what? Data and information. It takes, and the software we want to see, we want it to work us or to favor us. We should keep our stuff. We should be able to get AI that will speak our language, will tell us a story. I mean, if you saw that video of Ricky and moving on to the next presentation, our very last one for this beautiful Thursday afternoon would be and Africa's digital future, and it will be given by none other than Chukwemeka comes. Delve straight into the words. I said we have big time, it's 1:43, and I will say thank you for cooperating with me and making this a reality. Thank you very much. In the next 10 minutes, the time starts.
Let me see your hands. All right. I did a lot of talk, all right? Okay, great. As introduced, my name is Techeconomy. I kind of lead the blockchain week, and we had a mini edition last year. This year again, we are repeating it in Lagos and Abuja, and then different other locations. So our goal is to basically create notes and then empower them and then help them to excel. So we do more advocacy, education, and a lot of opportunities. You know, we kind of like pipe this, introduce opportunities from abroad down to Africa and specifically for Nigeria as well. Quickly, it's all to be a fireside chat, but I'd like quickly coming down to the presentation. I believe someone who is here, who is new to the space, will empower actually. All right, decentralized systems in African digital future. What's decentralized system? If I may ask, who wants to answer? You have an idea of decentralized system? You've been hearing about it. Who want to help me? I'm new here. Decentralized. What's the word decentralized? Okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I can hear you. No central. Oh, sorry. Okay, basically. All right, so that's my fault. Please. So I think the test for the blockchain will come up in this actually. So this is all right. So I was in Morocco like 2 years ago or last year, I think 2 years ago, and I was kind of stranded. The dollar I had was just limited, and I needed cash. I don't have access to Morocco banks. There's a whole lot of strictness, and what just helped me was the Web3 space. I have a wallet. I have my Bybit, my Binance. All I just need was kind of like reach out to the friend, and then he said he has a wallet. How to send him the equivalent, and he give me the amount, and then I do it myself. So I could stay more than a year there without worrying, creating an account. So that was how I was able to live seamlessly in Morocco. And then when I'm done with what I was doing, I had to find my way back home. Right, so that's the beauty about the space. I just want to thank what your presentations are. It's resonated with what we do actually. I was discussing with Linda, and when we had a blockchain last year, we
adomain.io, and then they advised us, can we just pick it up and promote .ng? I said, yeah, sure, that's it. Straight up, we just have to get the end to all our hands, promoting the Nigerian doing the space. I'm happy to collaborate with you because we have a lot of developers buying a lot of domains, and we want them to pay attention to what we have back home. So what are the decentralized systems? Just as you said. If you can see the screen, you can see decentralized systems in Africa. You might have been hearing about Bitcoin, and these are one of the use cases in the space. Just a use case. It's a digital payment system. It's a currency. If you have a Bitcoin here, you're you're the biggest of the big. So it started as low as $1, and then all of a sudden the value increases, and today America is working towards having the headquarters in America. That's what the space has generated. So as we learned, we need to pay more attention to the space very well. For some of us who are early to join the space, in terms of financial, it has really helped our ways, and still the opportunity is still quite large. And we're looking about more than $3 billion industry and still growing. So there's a lot of space. So we as the economic team, we all want to do is to get our people in the space. The earlier you join the space, create it for yourself, and then you get empowered. You can be somewhere in Dubai or somewhere in Morocco or somewhere in Maldives, and you're making your money and you're living quite okay, and you are interacting with it's a borderless environment actually. So you don't need a visa. It's something that you just come to enjoy. What's about us is we have a lot of talent here. You can imagine the bright mind here, a lot of energy that I can see. So I would really like you guys to take this very serious. So these are some examples of what is in the space. These are just examples. Let's go to the next slide. What is decentralized system? So I kind of quickly penned it down. Decentralized systems are simply digital infrastructure where no single person or company or government controls everything. Instead, power is shared across us. We are aware. We can start up a project, and every one of us own it. So, and it can't be controlled by me. It can't be controlled by him. It can be controlled by us. Consensus. So even if there's a possibility of changes, we must have 51% consensus for that change to occur. But most of the times, it's very difficult. Whatever you deploy, it's just stay there, and that's why the immutability, the truth, if you look at the properties of the blockchain, that comes in here. So if you hear power is shared across many independent participants, and these participants can be nodes, can be users, can be validators. User rules, everyone can verify, especially when blockchain or peer-to-peer networks. Generally, for this to work, there's always a specified rules or protocols. So each blockchain has its own protocols, and we have the global protocol that makes it work together. Please let's go to the slide. Okay, that's one. Okay, why it matters for Africa to the future? So why it matters? We were, in one of the presentations I had, America doesn't need blockchain. These guys are already fast, okay, expect. Where you could see a lot of use cases here in Nigeria, in Africa, and this is where we need to right now, a lot of RWA are coming up, real world assets are being built, failures. So this is where we could utilize blockchain, and it's really trending. Today we have our own CMGN, my friend, it's doing quite well. What Inera could not achieve in 2 years, CMGN achieved in less than 2 months, and that without publicity much. So that's telling how the space is really evolving. So centralized system gave us OP. OP is controlled by Money Point as well, and Processor. These are powerful projects that comes, and all these things that helps the unbanked guys kind of like unbank, bring them into the financial world. All these projects are beautiful. During the COVID period, it really helped a lot. But one outage can frustrate. Let's assume there was a time and there was like an institution, you discovered so many issues there. Let me not mention names, but in the space, in the blockchain space, we hardly have all these things. We have some of the chains that just marked 5 years, 10 years. And what they said is 5 years without any downtime. You know, that's because these servers are not just on a particular space. These servers called nodes are all over the whole world. So let's assume the node in America is down. The node in Gobe will never be down. So if the one in Gobe is down, the one in China will never be down. So that's one thing about space. So let's go to the next. So decentralized system of sovereignty. No, please go back again. It gave us sovereignty. It's revenue that can't be lost, identity that can't be erased, and infrastructure built, run, and profit from. And so these are one thing about decentralized system. We missed it sometimes ago, but I'm happy now that Nigeria is waking up to the task. So because I'm still here, even despite we missed it, we're still in Africa, we're still the one leading the Web3 adoption. But so far, I'm so happy the government has been able to like come up with a taxation structure, come up with a compliance structure, and then we have a community that are really championing this space. So another time for you to get it to join now is today. Alright, so what are the decentralized systems? As I said, no gatekeeper, simply control data and rules. That's what is about the space. Control data and rules. When I say control, no gatekeeper, today nobody knows who owns Bitcoin, who founded Bitcoin. It's just running seamless and everybody's craving for it. That's the beauty about it. So tomorrow now, Naira now, the last government, we can hear that there was so many, because there was no money, as in, because when you need the rice, you can just simply order the CBN to print mint, like, and you can't track this. But on the blockchain space, any coin, whatever that is mint that is being audited, you can always see it. So if there's any file, it's just on space. All right, let me quickly round up. So you have the data, it lives everywhere. That's one thing about this centralized system. So anything about the space is everywhere. The rules are transparent. Bitcoin in Nigeria, as I speak today, we have more than 2,000 wallets, and CBN can switch it off. And these guys are doing amazing transactions. You've heard about mesh. So if whatever network provider goes down, you have this product out there, giving internet to everyone. You have different protocols, like the base, they're doing great work. These are smart controller like first root, and people are being building on it. Let's go to the next. Africa owns, go back again. So I said something. Africa owns the rails, not just the train. So it's time for you to so that we do the rails and also own the train as well. Let's go to the next line. So policies, one of us also have taken this, but these are what we need. 3 policies move African moves that we all need now. Was this one, data localization, interoperability. We need that. So we need to have more mandates, local nodes, APIs. We look at the risk-based VAPs. VAPs means virtual asset providers license for DeFi, token classification in 90 days. 50 billion people. So these are like some things, 3 items we need to move the ecosystem forward. To the next one. Okay, so that's just a summary of what I just have today. So I'll make this available, and I just dropped a poll on our X handle, Nigerian Blockchain Week. Just go to the X handle, answer the questions, and we'll reach out to you based on your response. So we have this project next. Happy to have you guys on. If you want to reach out to me, any questions, any partnership, just reach out to us. Thank you.
the convener, Lagos Blockchain. Is it coming up this year?
Yeah, second week in December.
Second week in December. I'll just have one free ticket. He could give out maybe 4 more to make it Africa started to build those that create this amazing technology. Very quickly before we delve straight into the awards, from Sport Communications, Mr. Samuel. A round of applause. Wave. Thank you. The CEO Commercial, Mrs. Adirong Adeye. Oh my God, that's right. Thank you very much for coming. We are. Thank you. We're moving and towards the honors of presenting this second batch of the awards today is the CEO of Valley Digital and principal partner at Emeka Ibe and Co. None other than Barrister Emeka Ibe.
Person that engineer Techeconomy, who is and Digital Influence Award. We're inviting other persons who have achieved for this award. Please appreciate the outcomes of this award.
You have to create value. Thank you very much, and on behalf of Afritech, say congratulations.
Let's appreciate him with a round of applause. Alright, we have the ICT Company of the Year goes to ICT Edge. Shall we have a representative? Edge. A round of applause. Let's have that. A round of applause for Active Edge, ICT company of the year. Music, please, CJ. Easy. I'm active. That's why you want to. Congratulations.
Very active. I'm very active.
Next goes to Internet Exchange Point of the year. ICN. A round of applause for ICN. A round of applause. Congratulations. Afritech Annual Innovation Award goes to Tech Concepts Limited. Give them a round of applause. We have representatives. Tech Concepts Limited. Any representative here? Oh, thank you for standing. A round of applause. A round of applause. Thank you for standing. Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause back. And we invite the executive vice chair of the local government to present the next set and we give you a honorable look. Let's clap now. I'm tired. Mr. Chairman. The first we present is a test. Space smartphone. ITEL. Representative ITEL. Representative of ITEL. Any representative of ITEL? Alright, so any representative of coming. Alright, let's give him a round of applause. Comes to right. Congratulations. Next is Afritech Champion of Africa Award. It goes to Scott's Communications. Scott's Communications. A round of applause. Representative of Scott's Representative of Scott's Communications. Thank you. This way, you comfortable?
On behalf of Convergence, I think this award.
Smile. Congratulations. And next we have ATEC's National FinTech Achievements Award. Who do you think is receiving that award? Who else? Other than Afrigo Pay Financial Services. A round of applause. Shock you. Please don't applause for her. Congratulations. ATEC's National FinTech Achievement Award. You're doing amazing in the fintech space and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. more. The last represented Honorable Chairman is the ATEC Digital Trust and Security Excellence Award to none other than Diesel Cybersecurity. A round of applause as it comes. For your commitment to building digital trust and practicalization through all that you do. Thank you very much.
Congratulations once again. On behalf of Afritech Alliance, I'm pleasure to for what you and I can see that you're very focused on it, and I wish you all.
Thank you very much. A round of applause again. Thank you. Congratulations. At this point, we allow our Honorable Chairman to take a bow. Let's go back to his seat. I appreciate you for doing the honors of presenting the awards. Thank you very much, sir. Congratulations to you. And coming up next, we see Mr. Woodman, please join us on the stage. Thank you very much to the final set of awards. Thank you very much. And the first, the ICT Innovation Storyteller Awards. Can I have the name? The ICT Storyteller Award. It goes to Samson Akintaro, News Editor, Parametrics. A round of applause. Wow. Interesting.
So, narrators are really doing well. Thank you.
This way.
So the next is the ATEX Digital Trust and it is the ATEX Reporting Excellence Award to none other than Joanne A, Managing Editor Techeconomy. I have to stop at the A so that I do not mother just Sony. And she's going to teach me how to pronounce here. A round of applause for her doing amazing at the Techeconomy stage. Help me pronounce that name. Congratulations, congratulations, wife. Reporting excellence with Techeconomy. Well done, congratulations.
This way.
We have ATEX Mandarin Literacy of the Year. Let's have who that is. The ATEX Mandarin Literacy Voice of the Year. I told you your hand right there. Voice of the Year. Who will that be? Who will that be? Oluwatosin Inago Akiride. A round of applause. That means that voice will be very well. Congratulations. Let's give a applause. Not easy to give a voice. Well done. Nigerian Literacy Voice of the Year. Congratulations. The last but not the least is the ATEX Champion of Digital Infrastructure Award to none other than Digital Realty Nigeria. A round of applause and I have the representative come on stage to receive this award. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's see. Can I have the award for Digital Realty? After that, we'll allow Engineer Goodman to go back to his seat. Thank you. Let's appreciate him for doing us the honors. Thank you very much, sir. Congratulations. And the final award goes to all of us. The award for attending and listening with rapt attention goes to us. A round of applause to us. Okay, so let's do this quickly. It is blockchain advocate of the year, Chukwuemeka Inokabe. Chukwuemeka, well deserved. We have ATEX Outstanding AI and Cloud Transformation Personality of the Year, presented to Olusoji Solomon Adeyemo. A round of applause for him as he comes. So while you're still here, can we call on all the awardees from the second batch of awards, please come forward with your plaques. Let's have a good picture. Mr. Please be there. Honorable, please join us. Thank you very much. Please join us. Please come up with your plaque. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. We'll just keep up the certificate and just hold on to that. Okay, cool. If you can handle it, good. While we are getting ready to do that, Mr. Chike, get ready for the vote of thanks. After we ushers will lead our speakers first to refreshments, something to cool down after a long interest. Mr. Johnson, I need to go to the movement. Can we please adjust? Wait. Can we have some people? Can we come? If you know you as brief as I can, Joanne, let's have you down. So we have the other one. Those of us that are brief and straight to the line. Thank you. Thank you. We can have it all compact and beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Amazing. So let's move very quickly. Yes, your smash button is AI. Please send your original. Thank you very much. At the count of three, I want you just to raise it up and say 810.0. 1, 2, 3, go. 810.0. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Applause for them as they go back to their seats. Mr. Chair, please. We'll have our closing remark by the chairperson of the Afritech Finance Planning Committee. Also, the top president of NITRA for closing remark, Mr. Chike Onwuebuchi. Can we give a round as he comes?
say good afternoon. I'm excited to see the completion of Afritech Zero. I want to thank all of these individuals that made this event a success. So they have made me MD of Internet Exchange of Nigeria. He has been supportive of everything that we're doing now. Afritech, active in technology, teaser, cybersecurity, and there are one company that unfortunately they are not here. You can see digital in code. They are our platinum sponsor, but unfortunately the CEO is engaged in another training. So and he couldn't make it. That's how we had to jump his presentation. Afrigo is a part of us. I remember last year, people was Afrigo and all educated on what the company is doing. So every other course of communications and other companies that supported us. So we use this opportunity to thank you and wish everybody as you go back to your respective offices safely as we do that refreshment. So may God guide us and help us. Thank you and thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's allow the ushers to go with the speakers and presenters first to the mini refreshment table, after which is open to all. We want to thank you very much for honoring the invitation. We hope that we've learned a lot today and that we'll be here at the 6th edition of African Forum and also the